Ladies and gentlemen, we're going into game 1 of our best of 3. And we should be in a better spot now than we were before, because it will be a Zerg versus Protoss. Interesting. I gambled and assumed that it would just be Terran. I never know what HitEmUp's going to roll beforehand, so I'll go ahead and update the overlay here for you guys. And yeah, pretty cool stuff. So that will be HitEmUp in the bottom right as our, looks like Platinum Zerg, and in the top left we have Ayud as the Blood Protoss. A lot of blood was spread out across the whole damn battlefield and spilled everywhere, that's for sure. And Ayud will also be going his Lattice Opener. Looks like Zeke does not have the time anymore, so he'll end up forfeiting his match, which means actually the winner of Arbuz Sausage has a lot of oomph to him. So there you go. HitEmUp will awaken from this game, realizing that Zeke, he doesn't have to rematch Zeke. He only had the one game. Yeah, that does kind of suck that Zeke has to go. I mean, he did say he had 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever. I forget what I asked for in the form. I think it's 3 hours. And we're barely an hour and a half in. We're only halfway through the amount of time I tell you to set aside for the tournament. And so it's on him. He is unfortunately not going to be able to make it in there, but we wish him well, and we thank him for participating in that first matchup, which was indeed a very big nail-biter there, as HitEmUp pointed out. I hope HitEmUp doesn't have to work later, because he didn't sleep, so that would be pretty bad for him. Anyway, cross-bonds. We've been getting a lot of good cross-bond games, haven't we? That was cross-bond Blackwater between Godweed and Crank, now cross-bond between HitEmUp, Ayud, Blackwater Bastion, or Battle Spectre, which is the map that HitEmUp played Zeke on. That was a forced crossbond map, always crossbond, so I'm not really counting that one. But I think so far they've all been crossbond games, which tends towards more macro-oriented games, but doesn't have to be. HitEmUp is adding his Larvosk, his Quaz, he's got his pool, Ayud scouts him. He has a Vassal on the way, but there's Quaz already here, so not really a big deal there. Something that we didn't see HitEmUp use is the Vassal. He went straight for like Sim Idol. And it was a second lattice as well afterwards, so very much geared towards a punish. Quick reactions here from HitEmUp to try to chase down the Vassal, deny further scouting, deny any damage on the air units. Ayud wants to keep the unit alive rather than commit it, so he's going to pull it away. Meanwhile, HitEmUp will continue the scouting pattern and move towards the top left, where he will be greeted by the Simulacrum, the Idol, and indeed the Zealot, which is an interesting flourish here. Ayud already pulling off a bit of a different style. Hey, Zeke won several weekend wages before. You just weren't around back then. You weren't very active, Alexander. You missed it all. You missed the heyday of the Zerg. All right, expansion coming in for HitEmUp. Not really too surprising, as he's also adding his second Larvosk there. We do have the expansion coming for Ayud at a similar time. So that's pretty interesting. So I feel like with the way that we have the... Yeah, I was going to say, there must be another tech node coming here, and it is indeed going to be the Shroud. What does HitEmUp want to do with that versus Protoss, of all things? I guess he's probably looking at it and thinking, well, you've got Lattice units mixed in there, so it's going to be disproportionately better to have the Lake is out. The Vassal going down as well is a pretty big deal. Meanwhile, we do have the pretty easy as you like Protoss skirmish there. You reveal burrowed units when you step on them, so. I think right about now is when we're going to be thinking about that tech transition, and indeed, Vornath on the way. Shroud soon to be complete. Worker count pretty on par with each other. Actually, Ayud cutting workers a little bit here as his Nexus finishes up. So I feel like with the... Like, HitEmUp is also doing the Zeke thing, where he's actually using his hatch here just to make combat units for a bit before making any workers. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. A second Vassal arriving for a scout, that's pretty good. Yeah, I have a feeling, I have a funny feeling that HitEmUp might end up getting mauled by the composition that Aoud has. He didn't invest too many sims, right? He mostly went for the idols. A little bit of a burrow. That's something that Aoud's going to sniff out almost immediately. And the vassal does indeed come in looking for worker kills. You can just burrow to fight this, and Quaz actually hatch, and so that's it for Aoud's scout. I don't even think he actually saw the shroud. The vassal has very limited sight range. So, a bar guest is now on the way. Okay. So when the bar guest attacks, it shares an armor pen aura to all units, as long as it's decloaked, but it cloaks while not attacking. So it needs to be in combat to provide the aura. It's a pretty useful unit versus Shroud comps, I think. It does okay damage by itself, and you can get to a point where you are able to use it to, help bring down Zoryus, or even Ultra Cores is something that I feel like is probably underutilized against. But not many people are bothering with the Rogue Gallery. Aoud did tell me back when he won Acropolis 2 that he thought Protoss overlooked the Rogue Gallery, and now we're all the way over here entering into Acropolis 4 territory, and Aoud's still favoring that structure. He's talked about how he might decide to play random, carry forth the cup of HitEmUp, so to speak. HitEmUp himself playing random in this tournament. Aoud just playing Protoss. Sticking to one race, but a different race than his usual Terran. I don't know how many people are going to play random when I add Ascozi to random, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's going to be... I don't know if that's actually going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. I think it would be fine to have like a random between two races thing or whatever. You might see people then say, oh yeah, I'll play Protoss or Zerg. Like Arbuz might do that. HitEmUp said that he wants to do true random only. So, I don't know. I don't know about that. You have to tune back in a few months to see how we have our players navigate that. So our hatch is coming, and that's going to be our second macro hatch for a total of 4 plus the 2 Larvosk. So a lot of production for Zerg. Zets and Quaz still just kind of soft containing, not really much of a containment, honestly, but it's going to come in here and see that there is indeed a scribe trying to take an extra base. Uh-oh. I thought that was an opportunity there for a moment, but the bar guest's also confusing HitEmUp for just a moment. Why would you make this unit against me? What's happening here? Yeah, they don't do impressive damage by themselves, and there also wasn't any focus fire going on there. So that might have been a little bit too much. Now, did the scribe actually chase the workers, dude? The scribe's a battle worker. Did you know that? Didn't want to set up that third base after all. And now, the Zerg army prancing about. We have a manifold added into the picture as well. Not so many Lakers joining the fray just yet, but finally they will come down. We got no armor pen to help with the pariah, so it will reign supreme over this army for some time. The manifold adding some armor pen as well. The pariah will finally go down here in just a moment, but not before it procs a few more ascension ways. And look at that. He's using the manual detection mode of standing on top of the Zerg in order to reveal the Lakers. He had no detection for that fight. And the bar guest is coming in here to try to heckle the workers, but they will, in the process, be taken care of by the Hydras. I'll kill like 3 workers here before they get cleaned up. The one Lake is still confirms that there's no third base. Actually, that's pretty good scouting intel for HitEmUp. And looks like one of the bar guests went down, but we still have 3 intact. And they will be flying towards the main base. The Quaz will delay long enough. We got Hydras hatching. I don't think there's going to be any problems here. Embassy on the way for Aoud. He wants that detection. Losing out on one of his bar guests for a Droleth. Maybe not the best trade there. HitEmUp immediately resaturating. Double expand for Aoud. He knows he kind of screwed up there in the middle of that, trying to micro the bar guests and then also expand and take a good army fight in terms of positioning. Oh, nice little snipe fadeaway there. Still picks off another Droleth. He's being annoying. He's being cheeky. Looks like he killed 2, actually. Straight for the ski back now. Looks like HitEmUp is probably going to be thinking about that Tethzora core option. It's much more expensive than it used to be, but it is still just as good once you get it. So, not just as good, but, you know, once you get it. If you're rich, just pay more money, dude. The Hydras are massing. The Zoryuses are coming. This looks like a pretty scary army to go up against, but the crowd control is missing. And the Pariahs are here to try to absorb. Now, the armor rend from the Zoryus is going to help out a lot versus those Pariahs. You can see Aoud deliberately trying to hold his Pariahs back for a moment. But is that going to cost him as the Zorius are still intact? And he hasn't been able to get them into the backline at all. They haven't taken any attacks. A third Pariah on the way now. Maybe he can still make something happen here as his Pariahs are cleaving through armies of Hydras. It is outrageous the DPS these things are doing. All that splash damage is so very glorious. One more attack, and there you go. Pops a few more on the way out. Still a couple of dead Striders here by the looks of things. But the Hydras are going to get cleaned up, and the attack will be held. 10 more Hydras on the way. A Kabbalist arriving to start heckling the workers. Of course, Ayud is... oh, he traded 3 different workers. He targeted so many different ones. Man. Well, let's see. I mean, he's on the run now, evacuating the Nexus and everything. He does still have that 12 o'clock base. If I'm HitEmUp, I'm thinking, you gave up that base awfully quick, buddy. But HitEmUp's also busy thinking about a bunch of other things, like his own double expansion, going up to 5 bases as he knocks out the mineral only, sacrificing some military to do it. And actually, he's funneling towards that 12 o'clock, so he will end up scouting that out as well, and that is not really what Ayud wanted. Ayud wanted to hold on to this for as long as possible. He's even pulling the Scribes, try to make sure that the Zerg ends up losing their military. But look, more Hydra reinforcements coming in off to the far side and clearing workers. Yeah, this has been pretty bad for Ayud's economy. Had a pretty nice worker advantage there, and now HitEmUp has the worker lead and tempo on 2 extra bases. Down goes one of the bar guests, so no free armor pen there. Got some more Protoss units muscling over towards the 3 o'clock, it looks like. You do need to go tit for tat here, I think. I don't think you can get away with just losing your mineral only, not resetting it, at least as of yet, and not denying some of the extra oomph that HitEmUp has. But I'm seeing the amount of Hydras here, and I really don't think that the Pariahs are getting anywhere. He's going to go after workers, but it's not like there's a juicy amount of them to clear. He's just committed his whole very expensive Protoss army. And for what? A couple of worker kills, not even clearing some of the Zorius. It's not like he dealt a crippling blow in the other side of it. Got back up in workers, but that won't last. HitEmUp making a bunch of Droleth. That purple overlay there that lasts there for a second reduces armor and attack speed, so it can be pretty difficult for things like Pariahs to make things happen, and only 1 Matrix over here. Well, he knows the target. He knows he's got to get over here. The Witness is also in position, but there's no more Lakers with this army. HitEmUp abandoned that, which is interesting. He kind of used it to force the Witness tech and then didn't bother engaging with it again. Now, the Zoryu's front line just needs to stay alive long enough for the Pariahs to go down. We got some more coming in, but they can't get access to it. It's too tight over here. The Draconans need to step out of the way. Instead, the Pariahs are halfway across the map now, it feels like. Way too far to help out. The Matrix staying alive for quite a long time. It's getting bounced down a little bit by the Bactylisks, but it looks like those gateway units are finally going to get cleaned. The Pariah is still a little too large to fit through the few gaps and few openings available. As Ayud's worker count plummets, it feels like his hopes in this game are being dashed. We all saw what happened in game 1, or the last game rather, that he just played. And look at that. The Pariah is still so impressive when they can actually get to the backline there. So they will stabilize, but at the cost of all the workers here in the base and a huge amount of the military. Meanwhile, in case you thought something else was going to happen here, HitEmUp's army surges in supply. Not really a whole lot going on here for Ayud. He's got his mineral only set back up. His production's looking pretty good with triple prostration and a crucible to boost the production rate. Got a lot of gateways, got that road gallery that he hasn't really been using for much of anything right now. Just doesn't have the resources, really. And of course, he made a few witnesses to boot, but he hasn't been leveraging them into good positions. I wish we saw Kasuga in this tournament. Dude, he got 2nd place last time. But he's really good at using witnesses. That's why I thought of that. Nexus will now be the target. The Scribes will evacuate. Nothing to do here as the workers get ready. And look, the Protoss army kind of torn in a few different places. Where do we go next? 5-base Zerg versus the now 3-base Protoss with no 3rd gas mining either. This is a mineral-only base up here, so Your Vespene nodes are going to be a little bit dastardly. By the way, do you guys like that over here we've got these two mineral fields on the mini-map, plus this little curvature of the resources? If you look at that mini-map, it looks like a smirking face with a nosebleed, I guess. The army supply is absolutely out of control right now for HitEmUp. And you can see that reflected on the screen, not just in the numbers. Too many damn Hydras. The Bactyls here are just for show. They don't even help versus the armor. GG, Aoud has been routed in game 1, and HitEmUp will pick map 2 in this best of 3. We are live in game number 2. It will be Quasar Quartet. I'll change the map name in just a moment here. And we have HitEmUp Zerg once again. Going to be the stumbling block, perhaps, for Aoud 64. HitEmUp is the orange Zerg in the top left. And no more cross spawns. Aoud 64, our blood proton. And yes, I'm contractually obligated to say blood like that every time. At least I don't have to change the overlay. Gateway start for Aoud. Ski back start for HitEmUp. Okay. Mm-hmm. HitEmUp has aura farmed so much that he disrupts other players' mental just by being in the match. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. He figured it out. Imagine he has to play the game with one less worker. Sorry, HitEmUp. I was punishing you. I was nerfing you live. That was pretty good. Nerf him up. Dude, everybody loves to do the thing him up. You can't even call him shit him up because he's really good. Second gate, it's going to be a gateway style here for Aoud. He's abandoning the lattice for now. See what he wants to do out of that. Both players scouting each other right at the first go of it. HitEmUp probably saw the trajectory of that scribe and figured it out. Might need to go up a notch on the compensation there. His taste in anime is shit. I can only imagine what that's a reference to. Well, HitEmUp is got his Azure cores out already, so I don't think there's going to be too many issues there. Bullied. Ah. Ah. There you go. Hi. You got 2 Drac? That's interesting. So yeah, what does Dracodon Man do against Hydra? This is not a typical opener for either side, really. Usually you're going like Zealot Ecclesiast with the gateways. That's like Oya style, 3-gate. He wasn't the first one who did that. Arbiz, I guess, was probably the progenitor of that style, but... if you go Dracman off of 3-gate, Hierophant scouting for drops, you know, yeah, you guess you typically pair this with like an Azure core drop or something like that. It's probably what he's worried about. And there is an Avaleth coming, so... Not an unfounded position to take. It looks like it'll be a bit more of a defensive play here while the 3rd gateway comes online. Aoud not going to be forcing the issue, but he does end up getting a circuit for his troubles, delaying the expansion. Only 2 Azure cores. The 3rd one's on the way here. Going to pop in a moment. Dude, I love Aoud's style with the anti-drop, but he's actually pulled the trigger on abandoning it a little bit late, and his matrix is only now coming up. However, this does mean that the front line here, 5 Hydras, the Circuith, and that's it. So he's got more Hydras coming, more Azure cores coming. I think he'll hold just fine. Aoud, on the other hand, he's going to be wishing he had something else, I think. Well, I don't know. Let's see. How soon does that Avaleth start working? These 2 Dracs are going to be mulched here by the Hydras, or are they? Pulled him away at the last second. Avaleth drop now coming in. The Matrix will finish in time to help. Meanwhile, a big pressure point here with Aoud trying to catch him. Tags him up with those Hierophant hits. Does slow things down quite a bit. Those Azure cores are unlikely to get away. The drop actually doesn't go right on top of the force. So they're going to come in now. The Matrix and some of these Draconans may help out. Let's see. Let's see if Ayud even recognizes it. It looks like he does, but he's not going to bother with it just yet. Letting his forces attack up the ramp. There's actually not that much here. If he gets the Hierophants to stack this debuff on, the Circuits won't actually attack nearly as much, and that's it. Yeah, the Scribe Drill on top of it. Ayud has taken the game. No GG from HitEmUp, but that's pretty common, honestly. And that will be the next match here. That's the first time HitEmUp has lost a game in Weekendwage, by the way. That was the first one. And now, HitEmUp is Zerg again. And he is in the top right as our Lemon Zerg player. In the bottom left, Blood Proton. Ayud 64. So this is a map where you are always cross-spawn. Very cool. Very epic. Will be a gateway open once again for Ayud, and we'll see if it's going to be a den open for HitEmUp. But I'm guessing not. I'm guessing not. So we do have a little bit of information here for you. Sausage has dropped to Arbuz, who then moved past Ziki because Ziki was unavailable for that matchup. So we have in our lower semifinal to decide who faces the loser of this very map. It is Newt versus Arbuz Budesh, and they're already on to map 2 of their series. I think. It looks like HitEmUp's going to be a little bit on the greedy side here as he goes for his second Kagrant before any tech node, but there is already a Scribe moving across to scout him, and we do have a Legionnaire, so Ayud has some kind of sixth sense about him for this. You know, I'm reminded of a time where Ayud was playing against Hepsea, and Hepsea was like, dude, how did you know I was going to do that? What the hell, man? And he was like kind of complaining, right, about the fact that he his strategy kept getting like his different strategy each time kept getting somehow anticipated, and Ayud was trying to explain like the tells that he could figure it out. He assumed based on whatever thing, and Hepsea wouldn't take it, and he said, "Okay, I hack." I just thought that was a really funny thing to say in response to that. Just being annoying with the Scribe is pulling some of the Rokors off. They cannot walk off of the Kagra, the creep, unless they want to time out and die. They've timed life there. Circuit already coming. Also, you walk right through the Rokors. So it looks like Ayud narrowly misses out on the timing here. Not able to move forward. That's what the Scribe is trying to do, is pull those Rokors away so the Legionnaire could get up and maybe do something, but it is not to be. Scribe gets cleaned. The pool is done. We've got Draconans coming. Is it any surprise Ayud making Draconans? Probably not. I'm still waiting to see his Fabled Simulacrum build, dude. He's done that to so many players, but I haven't been able to see it yet. HitEmUp makes intimidation rules, yeah. You're not wrong. Okay, let's see. He's going to have to unload those Zets and see if he can get active. Rokors go after the Legionnaire. Not a bad move there. Couple Quas out here. Yeah. So as long as the Rokors attack, they actually gain 1 second of timed life when they attack. So if they're able to stick to a target, it's all right. This amount of Zets is going to clean up the Drax here without too many issues. Tempted Micro to try to slip the net. It's a little bit harder than it looks, especially given that these players are playing on a bit of a higher latency compensation. So yeah, a bit more difficult. He's going to try to, distract as another set of Drax are attempted to move up the ramp, but instead, as that other one dies, there ain't no much hope for them. See ya. Triple Larvosk into the Vornath. He wants to scoop up those Zets to go across with a drop, and we do have that Matrix coming, so should be in place with enough time, but this is already a dirty game. A dirty game by both players. Expansion coming for HitEmUp. Expansion coming for Ayud. Similar timings. actually kind of favors the Zerg sometimes, because if you're pressuring the Zerg early on, they can't expand very quickly, and you can expand before them. Typically, what happens is Zerg take their third at the same time as they take their fourth, and that's how they catch up on the mid-game macro side of things. But the fact that HitEmUp is taking it at the same time means that he has kind of greeted towards a more even game earlier in the matchup, which is one of the reasons why his Zerg can be so scary. Now, he's a little bit more fragile to early shenanigans. We saw that in Quasar Quartet, but actually that's true of most Zergs. They tend to have that fragility to them. So the drop is coming in as the Vorvs try to sink their claws into the Draconids. This looks like it should be an open and shut case where the Zerg can muscle through, but let's see if that Matrix can help out. It's actually being torn down by the Zets. That could be humongous. It goes down, and now the Scribes are under duress. Not a lot of Vorvs here to actually rend the armor and slow things down, but it doesn't really matter when you don't have any workers left behind it because of that drop. It was masterfully executed, and he just tore down the structure. Oh, wow. GG has to be called, and HitEmUp will take the game. I have to talk about how that Matrix went down, okay, guys? Normally, the Matrix will shield restore itself because it's attacking a melee unit, but whether it was intentional or perhaps more than likely incidental, the Matrix was attacking a Zeth that was attacking a Scribe, and the other Zeths got aggroed onto the Matrix and then killed the Matrix because the Matrix isn't restoring itself nearly as much as it normally does. Wow. And if it was for a drill, Aoud could have done a drill there to try to stop the Zeths from being able to attack and fought with the Scribes and cleaned it up, and then the Matrix stood up and alive. Maybe he holds versus all the Vorvs. Even then, it's pretty tight. Very deadly follow-up there. HitEmUp immediately puts himself into the grand final. And that